Bam. What's up, guys? Got a quick video for you, a little idea. I was just studying and I was thinking about a couple patients I had while I was doing my clinicals in Oklahoma. One patient who got in a car accident, basically ended up losing his left hip. So it started with just an amputation of the lower portion of the left knee. Then it just kind of went up from there as the infection spread. Yeah, and this guy was like a healthy, happy guy, like supposedly like a fitness guru type person, really good life, and gets in a car accident, and you know by circumstances and whatnot, infection spread, and he basically ended up losing his leg. Went really all the way up to up to his hip. They basically had to amputate all the way up there, and his stomach, and he was was like open. He was in the ICU for a certain amount of time, and I did the ICU as part of my rotations, and along with doing my work and working there, and doing my job, I'd also go beyond what my job was, just because it's my passion, and I'm sure everyone has this passion because it's just unique to. I don't know if it's unique to humans, but it's something within humans that we care for other humans that we don't know. So, anyways, this guy had this amputation and going through a really hard time, as you can imagine. So I'd go in there, and he couldn't talk, by the way, because he had a trach in, which is like basically a tube connected right to the windpipe. So you can't talk with that in. So, anyways, he had like a little thing that he could write on, and I can imagine that'd be a really hard situation to be in. So I tried to give him any support I could. First I dropped by and asked him if he needed any help with anything, or if he needed someone to talk to via writing or something. He said no, he's fine. He just gave me a head nod no, and I was like, all right. And I decided to come back later to kind of show that I care. Like a couple hours later, and I asked him if he needed to talk to anyone. He said no. And then I noticed a Bible on his nightstand, and I asked him if he wanted me to read it to him, and he gave me like a head nod or something. The way I asked him was like, "Do you want me to like read like a chapter or like a verse out of the Bible for you?" And he gave me a head nod, and I asked him, by writing, I was like, "Well, do you want me to pick one for you, or do you want to pick one?" And he wrote like, pick one, and I was like, "All right." So, anyways, I just randomly opened up to was it Matthew 7, I believe it was. Yeah. So, anyways, if anyone knows that, it's the parable about seeing a speck in your brother's eye when you have a log in your own. So the theme is a lot about judging others when you're not one who's free of sin or free of issues, and then also finding the strength in establishing your values, or establishing your concerns in things that are spiritual and not of the materialistic world. So, reading that to him, it was like super beneficial to him. He was really feeling it when I was reading it to him. Yeah, I'm gonna pull this down a little bit so I know my time. So yeah, he was really feeling it when I was reading it to him, and it really hit him deep, like in a good way, and it hit me deep that it hit him so deep, because I was just doing a little thing like that just to try to make him feel better, but it's like it doesn't really take much out of me, to do that. I'm just on my shift, like whatever, and it was actually a really cool experience because myself and another nurse who were having like some personality conflict, ego, BS issues. It happened to be funny that I happened to be reading that chapter while she was in there taking care of him. It was kind of enlightening for all of us. So yeah, that situation happened. Happened to leave that shift. His sisters came in while I was reading it, and they were pretty happy to see him. Mentally more energized and improved, invigorated, spiritually energized, whatever you want to say. So anyways, left the shift, went home. You know, it was pretty cool. Happened to be talking to my mom, told my mom about it, and then you know she's a very nice, loving person as well. She's probably taught me that trait to like really care for those in need. Partly why I chose this job as pararescue. So anyways, she decided to send me this little thing, which is basically like a little writing board which you can write on and then just like erase with a click of a button. So anyways, she was like, oh yeah, they have these sales at Costco, like I should get you one, you could bring it to them. I was like, all right. And you know, I did. And I didn't work another shift with him there, but I did work another shift in the ER trauma, and I basically just went up on my shift temporarily. You know, broke a rule temporarily. I'm not supposed to leave that post in the ER, but it's like, seriously, like, are you gonna follow every single rule? You know, just to like make sure you're following rules and don't get in trouble, or are you willing to risk breaking rules to be the best person that you're meant to be and to positively influence the world? And that's actually something very strongly I learned in Oklahoma City. And believe it or not, that poster is of Oklahoma City. Yeah, so it'll be a good reminder for me. So anyways, I realized just right now as I'm studying that, you know, after just dropping it off, and I dropped it off one time, that in like a Christian Science Bible, and I'm not even like a Bible thumper. I'm not a crazy Christian Scientist or anything, you know. And by the way, if you don't know what Christian Scientist is, it's not Scientology. And even if it was, like, who cares? Like, people judge Scientology on the outside. I don't really know much about it, but you know, there probably are some people that it helps them be a good person and helps them be more loving. And if that's a practice out of a religion, what does anyone have against it? It's teaching people to be more loving, functional beings in society, whatever. So anyways, I dropped that off. He was like kind of half asleep, you know, no big deal. And then I later worked another trauma ICU shift, but he had moved up to another floor where he had less critical care. But I remember thinking, like, you know, if he's in this situation where he decides either A, he doesn't want to live anymore, or B, he isn't going to live anymore because of the disease process taking him over, at least he has had an experience with another human being that cares for him. And for me, if I was in that situation, or any situation where I'm down, you know, the world freaking seems very harsh sometimes. You know, we've all, you know, lived in this world for an extended period of time. You've probably been through high school, been through parts of college, been in different workplaces where people can just be just very inconsiderate of your feelings, inconsiderate of other people's feelings, and sometimes it can seem kind of disheartening to live in this world, and you might feel like this isn't the type of world for me. Nonetheless, you still have beautiful things. You got some negative parts, and that's what's crazy about humans. We create beauty and we create disaster, just disgusting, you know, stuff. Human beings are